Hello, I am Sylvia Hartman, the creator of Modern Energy, and I welcome you wholeheartedly to this video entitled Not Going Clear. Yes, the Scientologists have got it wrong. And I had a little enlightenment experience on that the other day. I would like to share that with you and the insights I have derived from that, and why modern energy is so much more practical, humane, and right when it comes to dealing with human beings in the real world, including you and me. So there's this cult called Scientology, and they have this thing called the Bridge to Total Freedom. And the idea is that when you remove all your trauma from your being, that you become a superhuman version of yourself, and first of all you go clear, and then you evolve further into this superhuman state by going up the bridge of total freedom until you become an operating Thetan, a person who is entirely in charge of their own life. And then you go into the higher levels, and there you develop superpowers such as telepathy and being able to move compass needles with your mind and such. And so this is basically sold in a pyramid fashion, that the higher up you go, the more expensive the courses become, and the more enlightened and powerful and superhuman you become in return. And I've known this for a long time, but the other day I saw the Bridge to Total Freedom again and started laughing to myself, because there is a serious misunderstanding, not just in what the Scientologists are doing, but this misunderstanding extends to many, 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 many secret societies, probably all of them, and the upper echelons of, well, all cults, all religions, all sects, whatever you want to call it, is that you there's this developmental thing where you're climbing up some kind of pyramid over time, and when you reach the top, there's the big I, and you're all enlightened and you have all these superpowers. And that whole concept, that whole structure, that whole matrix is wrong. It's wrong. Ha ha. It's wrong. It's just not correct. And there factors so many other things into this, like this question, who am I? And I've known so many people who've run across the Myers-Briggs test and done the test, and then they came out with I am an INTJ. That's what I am. Now I know what I am. I'm an INTJ. Yay! Label. Woohoo! I can now finally know what I am and what I'm supposed to do and how I'm supposed to act, how I'm supposed to think. Yay! I have found myself in this system. And I do think that people are looking to find themselves, and they're looking in the wrong places, basically. And it's just really fascinating. So instead of the Bridge to Total Freedom, we have in Modern Energy, we have the Modern Energy Chart. And the Modern Energy Chart also has enlightenment states right at the top at +10. States where you can read other people's minds and move compass needles with your mind and all sorts of things. You can do fabulous healing and all sorts at +10. That exists on the Modern Energy Chart too. However, it's not a state of being or a constant state of being. Nobody ever, not now, not ever, not even the greatest prophets, ever live in a constant state of +10. You know, we have stories of the prophets getting really angry and shouting at people, getting depressed, crying. Even the great prophets, the great, spiritual leaders of all time went up and down on the energy chart. They were still human beings if they were embodied in a human persona. They went up and down the energy chart because modern people, human beings, go up and down the energy chart. They aren't one thing. They sometimes are angry and short-sighted and stubborn, and sometimes they're depressed and all they see is the negative, and sometimes they're inspiring, and sometimes they really are in that complete enlightenment state for a very short period of time. And that's really such a huge and profound observation, to make that observation and say, this is exactly how it is to be a human being. This is correct. We can, each one of us, say, I'm here or there on the modern energy chart. And that will then inform the way I feel about the world, the way I talk, my grammar, my levels of being able to think logically, or, make sense. And that's, every human being is capable of and has experienced all these states up and down the modern energy chart. But that doesn't mean that we are just these corks bobbing around uncontrollably on the great seas of experiences in life. We still have the +10 out there. We still have that there as a goal where we want to be. So we can say to ourselves, yeah, I'd like to be the best version of myself. I'd like to be +10 more often. You can't hold +10 living a real life in the really real world with all the problems that we have self-created for ourselves, all the unnecessary suffering that we've created for ourselves. But even if that wasn't there, you can't walk along a long path in the mountains and not stub your toe once in a while and shout, shit, oh, that hurts. It is just not possible, and it's crazy to demand this of anybody. But we can, notice this and say, oh, yeah, really that hurts, and I got stressed, and I started shouting abuse at the universe and cursed the rock, and that's okay because I'm a human being, and that's what they do when they get hurt. But I'd like to get back to a better energy state as soon as possible, please. Thank you very much. And that's really this gigantic difference between modern energy and everything else you might want to get involved with, is that, first of all, we're allowed to remain to be human beings. Secondly, we do have these enlightenment states. But the fact is that you don't have to pay $100,000, $1 million. God knows how much the poor Scientologists have paid over the years to get to this mystical, essentially, fleeting +10 state and want to live in it forever. You don't have to do that. You can stop right now and start remembering the star events of your life where you were at +10 already. You're enlightened already. And I don't care who I'm talking to here. Every single person in the world, I can take you back to a star memory of your own life, something that you've experienced, mind, body, and spirit all in the same place, a super high energy state, where the birds literally did land on your shoulder and where you could do astonishing things, way beyond just reading people's minds. It's extraordinary. Every one of us has already been at +10 in different contexts, showing different kinds of superpowers many, many times in our lives. And so what we need to do, if we want to do that more often, is first of all reconnect with the experiences we've already had. That is super important, and that's really the heart and core of Star Matrix, is to turn the mind away from all the trauma for a change and start focusing our attention on those star moments when we were really at +10 already, when we had achieved this operating Thetan level already. And we can achieve these star events are from way back, you know, like as far as you can remember. I remember star events when I was 3 years old. And this thing of that the universe just smiles at you and bows to you and you have power to act within this reality. We have experienced this. And some might say there may be some kind of conspiracy to stop people from remembering their own power and learning about who they are at the end of the day by remembering their star memories of this lifetime while they're still alive. You could say that. But here's the thing. What we want to achieve in modern energy is not some impossible dream of being some kind of superhero forever. That's going to happen after you've died. Practice, don't have to worry about it in this lifetime. What we want to do is we want to spend less time in these unnecessary, severe, miserable, low energy states. The less time we spend in those energy states, the better for the health of mind, body and spirit. And we also want to encourage the movement towards higher energy states. We want to absolutely look at the +10 on the modern energy chart and say, yeah, I want another experience, and as soon as possible. Yeah, I want to do this, afresh, anew, in a new context. I want to expand my understanding, my abilities, my insights in who I really am, because you are you at +10 and nowhere else on the modern energy chart. Everything else is a slightly, distorted version, if you will. It's not the real thing. The real thing is you at +10, and you have been there already many, many times. You don't have to pay anyone $100,000. All you need to do is turn around and remember and connect what that felt like, what that was, and what you learned from that. So important. The more you do that, what happens that there is a connection becomes apparent. It's a timeline, but it's a timeline just made of the star events of your life. I call it, therefore, the star line. That's a wonderful thing. I don't want to prejudice your own experiences with that, but it becomes an inevitable discovery when you do a little star matrix, just 100 star memories of +10, and you start to think about your own life and who you are in a very different way. Completely changes the story of your life. It changes your self-concept. It changes the way you reconnect with past aspects through massive barriers that sort of seem to be in your life. Like, for example, the child, the tween, as they call them now, and the teenager. There seems to be sort of no connection. The child was this one thing, and then there was this horrible thing, and then the teenager became this completely different person. And that's just not true. When we look at the star events the child had and the teenager had, we find this communality. This is the same person. This is the same person. They're just stuck on a slightly different sort of fancy dress. But it's actually the same person having similar kind of high +10 experiences. around similar topics that form the basis of the story of your life. Repeating themes in these star memories that feel so familiar, and you're going, yeah, right. And in my case, this goes further. You know, I've been a teenager, obviously. I've been a young woman. Then I have been a mother. And I am now a grandmother. I am post-menopausal. And still now that radiant connection all the way from a young child, all the way through everything I've experienced in my life, to the Sylvia that is speaking these words today exists. And there is an essential Sylvianess to every single one of those. And if you'd ever met any other Sylvias from that long timeline of 60 years, you would recognize that Sylvianess. And whoever you are, there is an essential you-ness there that you will recognize time and time again when you are actually looking at star memories through your life. And it's just the sort of thing that only you would have experienced in that specific way. So this essential thing of the modern energy chart, that we are absolutely not expecting any living human being to be at +10 all the time. I don't personally believe that's at all possible while you're still in a physical body. And anybody who tells you this, just sneak around their house and watch them and wait until they get a toothache. Just a simple toothache. And find out what happens next, where their enlightenment goes when that appears. So we can expect to have moments of distress, being distraught, being depressed, but also of having bright ideas, of going to work happily and manifesting those, to find success, and also to have these extraordinary +10 experiences. There's this old advertisement, there are things that money can't buy, and then there's MasterCard. So MasterCard, to me, stops at +8. +9 and +10 on the modern energy chart. Those are the things that you can't buy with your MasterCard. They are of a completely different nature and have a completely different effect on your life. So this is something that I've been wanting to talk about for a long time. So in modern energy, we are not going clear forever. We're not. What we want to do is to reduce the severity of the negative energy states in your life, so there's less of them, that they are less severe when they happen. So in other words, there's, less self-mutilation, less misery, less depression, just less of all of that. And that the frequency between things like, for example, anger outbursts or fits of depression, that these periods become longer. So less severe and longer periods. And that then on the other hand, we have more positive experiences and encourage them and do things to be more often higher on the modern energy chart, using modern energy techniques to pull us out of the swamp by the own hair if necessary. Do something, because what we want to be is to be more often more higher, because that'll lead to a happier life, and we become more of a resource to the people around us, to our environment, and just, it's a good thing. It's a good thing to be higher more often. And also to have more star events, more +10 moments, and learn by the ones that we've already had where it's most likely that the next ones are going to come from. If you have star events swimming with dolphins or something like that, and you notice that there's this real theme in your life of Oh, when I was a young child, I was fascinated by fish in a river, and then I went on to something else, and then eventually I made my dream come true and swam with dolphins in the Pacific Ocean. And, you know, that sort of thing. Okay, use that fish theme to move you actively towards your next star event. What kind of star event with fish is the next one beckoning you? And then plan a course towards it. It's a fascinating thing working with star events and actively taking charge of the fact that we will have more star events, and they don't have to involve now booking a cruise to the Arctic where you're going to be able to see killer whales. It doesn't need to be that. It could be something else, something much simpler than that. But at least you've got a direction. It's got something to do with the fascination of fish and oceans, and, you know, let your fascination guide you to the next star event. And please do not let yourself get blocked up by the idea that you need a ton of money to achieve the next star event, or that you need to have some major personality transformation first, that you need to, I don't know, give up this or that you need to lose weight, that you need to find somebody else who can help you. Let go of those restrictions. Star events are only about you and your experience. You can have a star event by just stepping outside your house, and the sky is a certain color and the wind blows a certain way, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, wow, God, I'm alive in this beautiful universe. It's not about money. Remember that star events are those things that you cannot buy with your MasterCard. You can't buy them. You have to have them. And in that, I think modern energy is hugely inspiring and inviting to everybody who would like to reconnect with their inner superpowers that they know they have. And it's not just some dim, weird knowledge feeling inside. The reason you think that you can do more is because you've already done so much more. You've already had these moments of, you know, I don't know, whatever it was. These moments where you have proven that you can move really, really fast from one side of the room to the other, or that you can make other people laugh and bring joy, or whatever it may be. Whatever it may be, whatever your story is, your star memories. That's why you know you are more than just your physical body, just the bio-robot that needs a chip implanted in its brain in order to think right, or whatever other nonsense is being spouted in this soulless, okay, that's a good word for it, in that soulless, techno-crazed, trauma-crazed, critical theory-crazed modern society of ours, stress-riddled to the extreme. So I am going to do my very best to bring modern stress management to the people of planet Earth, which is essentially just showing them a modern energy chart and giving them hope that positive experiences will await them in the future. Just that. I don't ask for anything more. I don't ask anyone to learn energy tapping or take a course in EMO, Energy in Motion, or even read my Star Matrix book. I just want everyone in the world to see the modern energy chart and to understand that every one of us, every human being, everyone, goes up and down on the modern energy chart, and how they behave, how badly they behave, or how loving they are, is a direct reflection of the energy states that they inhabit at that time. This does make the whole thing with being kinder to people, to understand them better, to forgive them even, so much easier. And that is why, to me, modern stress management is so, so important. and should be in every school, every hospital, every prison, every business, every family should have a modern energy chart hanging on the wall to give them a better understanding of the true nature of people, which is responding up and down to the stresses and the excitements of the day. But right at the end of the modern energy chart there's the +10. And we look at that and we remember it because we've been there, and we can say to ourselves, I'd like more of that. Please, that would be a wonderful thing. So thank you very much for listening, coming all the way. Please leave me a comment how you feel about this thing that I've been talking about, that in modern energy we're not offering eternal +10 while you're still in the living body. Whether you're disappointed that we're not offering this going clear thing like the Scientologists do, or whether you find, like I do, the idea of people being fluent and able to work with their own energy system in a more proactive and positive and loving way, to be just a little bit happier, a little bit more often, as attractive as I do. So thank you very much. This is what I wanted to say this morning. I hope you enjoyed it, and please leave a like and a comment. That will really help the channel and help me with my grand plan to get every person on planet Earth to see the modern energy chart just once in their lives, so that they have that information, and if they want to, they can do something new and different and more loving with it. Lots of love, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.